The whole world is becoming more focused on sustainability and best practices, and I think eventually it's going to take everyone to get involved.
But in the end, I think all the companies involved really want to prove that stone, relative to many of the other building materials, is so much better.
Having standards for the stone industry is very, very important, not only for the users of the stone, but also for those who quarry and fabricate.
The whole world is looking at the environmental issues out there, and this addresses the environmental, the social, the health, everything. And it will make a big difference.
It's going to put everyone on an equal playing ground, and it's creating a standard that we can all try to comply with that will help the industry, help our environment, help our client base.
This is incredibly important because as you look at the marketplace of all the variety of building materials that are available to the trade and to the design community, that finally natural stone has a standard for sustainability so that we can compete in the marketplace against every other building product.
By establishing a scientific basis for evaluating and minimizing the environmental impact of building with stone, the standard would ensure stone would continue to thrive and evolve as a building material. This also promotes innovation in the industry.
Architects, designers, owners can feel happy or understand that the product they have is coming from sustainable sources.
As you travel around the world and view natural stone buildings that have endured for hundreds of years, the question often arises, why would anyone question the sustainability of man's oldest building material? Ever since man evolved from caves and began building, since before the first architectural design, the use of natural stone has been a constant. For thousands of years, natural stone's durability and sustainability have been taken for granted. But today, sustainability means more than just having a long and useful lifespan, even though that's still important. Accounting for the sustainability of natural stone encompasses how the stone is quarried, processed, and transported. How natural stone is used impacts the facilities, the environments, and the people who work within them. The entire process of determining a product's sustainability is part of a growing and global green building movement. That's why the Natural Stone Council, an organization composed of 12 representative associations in the stone industry, is pleased to announce the development of ANSI NSC373 Sustainability Standard for Natural Dimension Stone. ANSI 373 is a wide-ranging standard that establishes criteria to measure the extent to which natural dimension stone has been produced sustainably. It's a standard aimed at recognizing and promoting existing sustainability practices within the industry. NSC 373 is the product of more than 5 years of planning and research, and a substantial investment by the Council. In its entirety, the standard establishes well-defined metrics for environmental, economic, and social responsibilities that will be recognized by green building market drivers as indicators of leadership in sustainability performance. More importantly, this carefully constructed standard is scalable. It creates a rating system that will identify natural stone companies that demonstrate environmental leadership through a commitment to sustainable operations and continued innovation. Jonathan Zanger heads one of the nation's largest natural stone distribution companies.
Up until now, well, we lived in a vacuum. There were no standards, and architects, owners, designers, retail clients, whoever used stone had to rely on whoever was selling it to them if they wanted to know whether or not the stone was quarried or produced in a sustainable manner and in a socially responsible manner. This standard will give us that information and will give us proof of that information.
Josh Levinson is an importer, distributor, and retailer of stone products.
Our industry was slow to react at the onset of the green movement. As sustainable design was building momentum, we sat back and wondered, how can we compete? Our product's not renewable. Rather than looking at the great benefits of natural stone for sustainable design, including its availability, its variety, its long life cycle, it doesn't off-gas.
The standard was developed by NSC with the help of Ecoform of Knoxville, Tennessee, and NSF International of Ann Arbor, Michigan. NSF International is a third-party entity which has been involved in the creation of numerous sustainability standards using ANSI consensus-based development procedures for building products.
Each American national standard is developed by a consensus process. Many different stakeholders participate, including public health, academia, industry, consulting, and certification agencies. In the case of the Natural Stone Standard, public comments were also solicited to ensure due process was afforded to all interested parties in an open environment.
Mark Rogers, a longtime architect who oversees the design and construction of buildings at the University of Denver, was the chairman of the committee charged with developing the standard.
Well, there's always some misunderstanding as to how stone is brought out of the ground and configured to be used in a building. And to some extent, there's also a concern by architects in particular, but also owners, as to where the stone is coming from, what it takes, how much energy is being used to make the stone, what's its trail, where is it coming from, and how is it getting onto my building.
Rogers said that architects, designers, and owners are very concerned about sustainability. And studies show that homeowners are more conscious about the green movement than ever before, and are asking pointed questions about building product sustainability for remodeling and landscaping projects.
They basically want to know that the stone isn't being extracted in a way that's unsustainable, that it's using chemicals or something else to cut it, shape it.
Rogers said that ultimately, the standard was built to assure an architect or owner that the stone that's being brought from next door, the next state, or across the ocean is coming in a manner that minimizes how it affects the environment. It was not an easy task, one of the reasons it took more than 4 years to develop the standard. He said another complicating factor was the wide diversity in the sizes of companies in the industry and the types of industry entities, quarries, fabricators, distributors, and delivery.
And coming up with a standard that would apply well across those different kinds of entities is very difficult. But beyond that is they're dealing with a multiple species of stone. What a marble can do and is typically treated versus a sandstone versus a rubble stone, that's a very large spectrum and a lot of voices need to be heard.
In developing the standard, 9 facets of a quarrier's or fabricator's operation were mandated. These are water usage and recycling, custody and transportation of the stone, site and plant management, land reclamation and adaptive use, corporate governance, energy usage and conservation, management of excess process materials and waste, safer chemical and materials management, and worker health and safety. A 10th section called Innovation is listed as optional. Its inclusion may or may not be used depending on the facility. Every company facility is certified on a site-specific basis. For example, if a company has a dozen quarries, it can obtain certification for only those currently in operation. The same goes for fabrication plants. All told, there are 18 different requirements under the NSC373 standard. A point system is used to determine certification with a possible total of 41 points. In the 9 sections, there are prerequisite criteria for which there are no points. There are 4 different levels of certification: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. The way the standard is structured, a quarrier or fabricator can get certified to NSC 373 by achieving the basic standards, which would be bronze certification. Starting with that baseline, additional points can be accumulated by demonstrating compliance to the different criteria. This is audited by a third-party verifier such as NSF. The more points the company earns, the higher the designation. The bronze level comes from meeting all prerequisite criteria. For silver level, you need the bronze prerequisite criteria and 8 additional points. Gold requires 15 additional points, and platinum takes a minimum of 22 additional points. The optional innovation segment provides for an additional 4 points. The better a company manages things like water and energy consumption, the more points it can earn. Once a facility earns bronze, silver, gold, or platinum certification, the company can use that certification to differentiate it from its competition. If NSF is used as the third-party verifier, the appropriate genuine stone seals can be applied to individual blocks, slabs, and finished pieces, or used in promotional activities. For the quarrier or fabricator seeking NSC373 certification, the process includes two major steps: a review of company documents that relate to the 18 mandatory steps, and an on-site audit. Certification is valid for 3 years. In the 4th year, the process repeats itself: an initial review and on-site audit. Prior to release of the standard, 2 firms went through the certification process. Texas Stone Quarries of Garden City, Texas, which quarries and fabricates, and Lyons Sandstone Company of Lyons, Colorado, a major sandstone quarrier.
My initial assumption that it would be a lot of work was right on target, and I am glad that I did it. I learned a lot.
When I first looked at the standard without getting into it, reading it, I panicked. I did not think that we could ever accomplish any of it. But after I decided that I needed to sit down and get serious about it and started implementing each section, it was not that difficult. Most of your quarriers or your fabricators today use so many of the issues that are in the standard, like recycling water, reclamation. You just had to make adjustments.
A typical certification will take 3 to 4 months to complete from the time that NSF receives information for the document review. Once NSF has completed the document review, the on-site audit will be scheduled. Any additional information needed to complete the certification will be requested following the on-site audit. Once the company has achieved the minimum number of points for the level of certification they are seeking, certification will be granted.
Jakovich says that the cost of certification will depend on the company's scope of operations, and NSF will provide specific quotes.
Are you a processor, quarry, or both? The size of your operations, meaning the number of quarries or facilities to be included, and the level of certification you are pursuing.
Brenda Edwards of Texas Stone estimates that it cost her firm, which quarries and fabricates, approximately $5,000 to obtain certifications.
NSF provides a dedicated project manager who will assist you with every step of the certification process.
There's an important supporting standard to NSC373 called the chain of custody.
That covers the entire chain of custody as the material moves from quarry to manufacturing through the supply chain to the ultimate destination.
In order for that stone to continue to be certified, it must be processed by a certified fabricator.
Down the line, as it moves to potentially an importer or a distributor or a domestic distributor for a local national product, would have to conform to the chain of custody standard. And every step of the way, whoever's handling the product must conform to the standard until it reaches the final destination.
Levinson says that the bottom line of the chain of custody is this:
to make sure on an audit basis that you're not selling more certified genuine natural stone than you're actually purchasing.
NSF will provide audits and certification to the NSC Chain of Custody program as well as NSC 373. The Chain of Custody program ensures that the correct procedures are in place for handling dimensioned stone from an NSC 373 certified facility through to the end user.
Late to the sustainability party, NSC started with a mission to create a tough set of standards befitting Mother Nature's oldest and most enduring building material. And it did, providing the architectural, design, contracting, and owner communities with indisputable proof of natural stone's sustainability. But along the way, it's doing something else, according to Mo Bohr, chairman of NSC.
And what it means to the companies, the fabricators, the quarriers, and all of this, it makes us better producers, it makes us better fabricators, because it provides an opportunity for us to do a little self-introspection and looking at how we do what we do and doing it better.
Foreign quarries and fabricators can jump on the certification bandwagon too.
NSC 373 was developed as an American national standard but can be applied internationally. NSF is an international company with a global auditing team with the capabilities to train auditors throughout the world to perform on-site audits for NSC373.
The first step for an organization considering certification is to obtain a copy of NSC373 from the Natural Stone Council.
NSF will also provide supplementary forms to help you gather your documentation. NSF recommends that you review the standard, noting the prerequisites and deciding whether or how you can meet those. Then select the credits you would like to achieve and start gathering the supporting documentation for those credits.
At that point, NSF can give you an estimate. Once that is accepted and a contract is signed, you're months away from certification. The race for certification to NSC 373 is on, with a competitive advantage surely accruing to those stone quarries, fabricators, and distributors who embrace the new standard and the right to represent one of 4 levels of certification and put these seals on their products. Several companies have indicated that with the standards in place, they're immediately ready to seek certification.
We have about 25 quarries, but we operate about 6 to 7. We will not certify all of them. We'll certify the major one, probably 5 or 6, as well as our 4 manufacturing plants.
Well, we're going to walk before we run. We're going to start in 2 regions, the headquarters in Minnesota and also the California region. And then after those are certified, then we'll move over into Texas, New York, and up into Canada. So it'll be a couple-year process.
Architects, designers, owners, contractors, and consumers have been waiting a long time for NSC 373.
I know that architects are waiting for this to be released. And I think what's going to happen is that as soon as they actually see what the standard is, that it is complete from quarry right to the delivery to the building, that they'll have a better understanding of where the sustainability factors come in for stone.
It makes us more competitive in the field. We are now playing on an even playing ground with other subcontractors, other industries that have already established these standards. And not only that, it makes us much more marketable to our end user.
But we're certainly looking forward to the opportunity to show to the world that the stone industry is interested in being a good steward of planet Earth.